Hi, everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. Now, I'm away from the channel for a couple of days, as you can tell by Mark's fantastic post-match analysis of Newcastle's shit 3-2 defeat to Chelsea. And it was shit. It really was. We weren't very good at all. And that's the reason why I'm coming on to do this rant. We've called it, it's okay not to be okay with this. And to be honest with you, it's something that's really niggled at me for quite a while. I saw some virtue signalling from so-called journalists on Twitter, or X as it is, last night, that just flicked my switch a little bit about this, really. And I wanted to come on and just do my little rant about it. So sit back and enjoy, and make sure your kids aren't in the room. So where have we come to here as a football society? Never mind Newcastle fans, any other fans from any other fan base, please let us know in the comments below whether you're exactly the same as we are. But it seems to be now, if your team plays badly or makes mistakes, or the tactics aren't quite right, or a player's poor, that this virtue signalling comes out, certainly in Newcastle United, and with the journalists. I mean, we've gone from Craig Hope-Chase and Steve McLaren out of the room and arguing with Steve Bruce to Luke Edwards jumping on and his white steed of morality and telling you all you're entitled because you weren't happy with what Eddie Howe did. I mean, fuck right off. Where is this coming from, honestly? Like, you are entitled to your opinion as a football fan. We don't have to have the same opinion. I've got my opinion, you've got yours, Luke's got his. They don't have to align. But who the fuck are you to jump on X and start calling people entitled just because they're not happy with the performance? And it isn't just a Chelsea performance. There's a lot of performances this season that these fans have based their opinion on Eddie Howe and the players. And you can't disagree with a lot of the stuff they're saying. Yes, Eddie Howe did a miraculous job keeping us in the Premier League. Nobody is doubting that at all. He did an unbelievable job, incredible job, getting us into the Champions League. Yes, there was caveats for that. Liverpool were poor and Chelsea were poor and Spurs were poor, but we still got there, and he did a fantastic job. But Eddie Howe knows more than anybody that you can't just live on the past. As a football manager, you're judged on results, you're judged on weekly results, you're judged on how you set your team out, you're judged on how they play, you're judged on your ability to change the tactics if things aren't working. That's the life of a football manager. Is it a nice life? Not really. It's paid very well, but it's fickle and it's fraught with people judging you, thinking you're world class one week and shit the next. But that's just football, and players are no different either. Every footballer that gets into that career knows for a fact they're going to be judged like that. Now, it isn't nice. Sometimes people jump on social media and they're quite vile towards these players, and I don't condone stepping over that line. But if somebody in that crowd or somebody watching that match from their armchair or booze or whatever wants to say that Longstaff shit or Burns shit, that's entirely their opinion. These people who jump on, if you say Miggy was shit or Longstaff was shit or Burn was shit, and then they go, oh, there's the weekly scapegoat, then it's not a weekly scapegoat. You look back at the performances, and they weren't great performances. The pressing wasn't there, the passing was poor, the defensive positioning was poor. I mean, the whole back four has been poor, I think, this season. In all fairness, they look a shadow of what they were last season. And no surprise, 3 of them are over 30. They're a year older. They've had bad injuries this season. Burns had this bad back injury, he rushed himself back. He's lost the only fucking yard he had last season. Sean Longstaff's playing injured. That's a question you've got to ask of the manager. But if you do that, once again, you're jumped on by virtue signalling people like Luke Edwards and everybody else. It's fucking pathetic. It's a football game. It's a game of opinions. You're allowed to have an opinion. That's absolutely fine. It's okay to have one. You don't have to align. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying or any other podcast, Pod in the Time, Tune Review, True Faith, Adam Pearson, whoever. You don't have to agree with all of these people. You're entitled to your opinion and they're entitled to theirs. But don't jump on and start virtue signaling and telling people that they're entitled or they're wrong to have an opinion about a manager or a player, because that's football. It's utter fucking nonsense. It really is. And the fact that these people get paid for writing about football and they're telling you not to have an opinion about football is fucking pathetic. I know he likes to paint himself as the pantomime villain, but he's come across like the fucking village idiot in this particular incident. It isn't just Luke Edwards. I'm not just ganging up on Luke Edwards. There's loads of people and are doing it. Loads of Newcastle fans, the minute somebody critiques a player or Eddie Howe, they're jumped upon on social media. They're jumped upon. There'll be people in these comments right now having a go at me for having a go about people having a go. Do you know what I mean? It's mental. It's absolutely mental. What's happened to the beautiful game, the game of opinions? You go to any stadium around the world, whether you're speaking in English, Spanish, Dutch, Brazilian, Portuguese, whatever, People will be slagging off a player that somebody else is praising. That's just football. We can't get away from it. The top and bottom of it is, with Newcastle United this season, yes, there's been mitigations, there's been injuries and all that stuff. There's that bingo mitigation line again. There has been injuries, but we have been poor this season. We haven't kicked on. The players that Eddie Howe has backed to get us to that, wherever it is, the next level we're going to, have not performed. Miggy hasn't performed. Isak's been injured. Wilson's been injured again. Trippier looks a year older and a bit slower for the whole point of it. He's still a very good player, there's no doubt about that, but you can tell Father Time is catching up. Botman's playing injured. I don't get that at all. I mean, that's something you've got to ask of the manager as well. But again, you're not allowed to do that. I'm absolutely fed up of this nonsense. I'm not saying Eddie Howe out for any stretch. I think he's got enough credit in the bank to prove he can turn this around. There's still a few games to go to finish in a European spot. Who knows what's going to happen in the FA Cup? I've got my feelings about it. I'm sure you do too. But he's still got time. I'm not saying let's get him out of a job. But for fuck's sake, let people criticise the man and the players when they're not happy with the performance, because it's not your responsibility. You are not the master of the written or spoken word. So just let people be football fans and have a fucking opinion on the game. That's my rant about that, guys. If this is the kind of thing you like, smash subscribe, come and join us. This is what we do here. We're raw, we're honest, we don't sugarcoat it. We're not trying to please people. We're just giving you an opinion. It's my opinion or Mark's opinion. If you like it, great. If you don't, maybe we're not the channel for you. But smash subscribe if we are. Have a cracking day, everybody, and we'll see you later. Cheers.